Okay, and welcome to our math guided lesson. Today we're going to do a big 5 skill, dividing by 2-digit divisors. You're going to do 3 total problems today. One you'll just watch me do it and basically just copy what I'm doing. The second problem I'd like you to write it down as I do, but then pause the recording, do the problem yourself, and then I'll do the problem for you when you push play to see if you got it right and see what mistakes you made. And the third one I'll write down and you'll copy and you'll do it, and then you'll bring all 3 in to class, okay? So again, the skill we're working on is dividing by 2-digit divisors. This will be on your first DSAT math test, and also an important 5th grade skill. So let's look at our first problem. We have 9,468. It's going to be a little delayed, so you're going to have to be patient. It's not perfect screen recording. Divided by 72. Okay, so you know how I like to do this. I always put a little multiplication sign up in the corner. So let's look at our first step. Our first step is to ask ourselves, how many 72s go into 9? Well, since 72 is bigger than 9, we're not even going to go there. We're going to skip that. Now, I could put a 0 there, put a 0 here, subtract, bring down, but still I'm going to have to go to the next step. So we are going to skip that today. How many 72s go into 94? I don't know. Do you? Now I can guesstimate and look at the 7 and the 9 and know that about there's 1, 7, and 9. But I'm going to try 2 over on the side just in case, okay? Just make sure that 72 times 2 is not just perfect and is too big. So over on the side, remember we're going to do a lot of work over on the side. I got 72 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 7 times 2 is 14. And I'm going to leave this here for later. Obviously way too big, because remember, I'm asking myself, how many 72s go into 94? So since 2 is too big, the answer has to be 1. So I'm going to put a 1, and I'm going to make sure that I put it exactly above the number that I was asking myself about. So I was saying how many 72s go into 94, I need to put the answer 1 right there. All right? Now let's multiply. 1 times 72, of course, is 72, because anything times 1 is 1. And then like regular division, we're going to subtract and bring down. Now remember how I talk in class that we often have to go back to 2nd grade on these and learn how to remember how to borrow. But on this one we're not going to have to, because you don't need to borrow. So 4 minus 2 is 2. I can do that without borrowing. And 9 minus 7 is 2. So I get 22. Now here's where I see some kids make a mistake. Now they think how many 72s go into 22, but that's not true, because think back to long division. Our long division rule says whenever we subtract, we bring down. So don't forget to bring down that 6. All right, now I'm ready to go. Now I'm ready to start over. So my next question is, how many 72s are in 226? Again, I have no idea. But I do have this one problem over there that's telling me 2 might be too small. So I'm going to try 3. Let me keep changing colors, make it interesting for you. So I'm going to try 72 times 3. Okay, let's quickly go. I get 216, and that's going to be about perfect. So I'm going to go with 3. My answer goes on the top. I touch it. 3 times 72 is 216. And I forgot to mention today that we can have no remainders, so we're going to have to do decimal division here. So after we multiply, we subtract. We bring down our 8, and we start over. So now my question is, how many 72s are in 108? Now this is why it's good to write these numbers on the side, because look, I know 2 is already too big. So I already know the answer. It's going to be 1. So it pays to do the work on the side. So I did go with a 1. 1 times 72 is 72. You're going to have to be patient with me. I'm going to need to extend the page here. Okay, so now when I say go back to 2nd grade, I'm going to need to, because you can see this is a borrowing problem. Not right here. 8 minus 2 is 6. We're cool there. But here I need to borrow. 0 minus 7 is not 7. I can't do it. So I'll cross out, always borrowing 10. And 10 minus 7 is 3. So now my question, my answer actually would be 131, remainder 36, because after you subtract, there's nothing left to bring down. The problem is I cannot have remainders, so remember our steps. Our steps with no remainders is we're going to add a decimal, put it straight up, and add 2 zeros. Always 2 zeros. We might not need both zeros, but we're going to add them, okay? So remember what we just did. We just subtracted. Okay, and what do you do after you subtract? You bring down. Now there was nothing to bring down, but now there is, because of course we're doing decimal division. So now my question, going back up, is how many 72s are in 360? Interesting. I think I'm going to go with 5. Now I could go with 4, but I'm just going to go with 5. Let's take a guess, okay? So let me switch colors. I'll try a purple here. Let's try 72 times 5. Okay, 5 times 2 is 10. 7 times 5 is 35, plus 1 is 36. Uh-oh, I think we got a winner here. Let's look. 360, perfect. So it's 5. And there we have our answer. Now, I probably should multiply again to be, but I'm already running at 5 minutes here, and I want to keep this under 10 minutes. So my final answer, what is 9,468 divided by 72? It would be 131.5, or 131 5/10. All right, thank you for doing that problem. Now, I would like you to take the time to copy it down. This would be problem 1. I probably should have written that before. Now, for problem 2, I'm going to write down the problem, but I want you to do the problem and pause the recording. So let me get myself a new screen here. New. Do I want to save that? No, even though it was beautiful work. Let's go with brown this time. All right, so this problem, number 2. Number 2 is going to be 2,743 divided by 26. All right, this is a good time to pause the recording. You should write this problem down, pause the recording, and do it yourself. Then play the recording again and watch me do the problem to see if you got it right. Okay, so pause the recording now. Okay, you've tried the problem, so now let's see if you got it right. Our first question is, how many 26s go into 2? Of course, the answer is 0, so we're going to skip ahead and say how many 26s go into 27. That's pretty easy, 1. 1 times 26 is 26. Now I'm going to go a little bit fast because remember, you just did the problem. We're going to subtract. 7 minus 6 is 1. Bring down our 4. Whoops, sorry. Bring down our 4 and start over. Okay? Whenever you bring down, you have to start over. Now my question is, how many 26s go into 14? Well, since 26 is bigger than 14, of course the answer is 0. So now we're going to multiply. 0 times 26 is 0. We're going to subtract. And we're going to bring down. Remember, these are no remainder problems. So now my question is, how many 26s go into 143? That's an interesting question. I'm not sure. You already have an answer, so you're a little ahead of me. Let me try 26 times 6. 6 or 5? I'll try 6. 26 times 6. 6 times 6 is 36. 2 times 6 is 12, plus 3 is 15. Shoot, I just missed it. So if it can't be 6, then it has to be 5. And that's why we have to do a lot of work over on the side. Let me try 26 times 5. Of course, you probably already know this, being that you've done the problem. 6 times 5 is 30. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 3 is 13. So that looks like that's as close as I'm going to get. So I'm going to put my 5. After I write a number, I always multiply. 5 times 26, well, it's right there, 130. I'm going to have to extend the page so you guys can see this. I'm going to subtract and get 13. So my answer would be, if I was not doing division without remainders, my answer would be 105, remainder 13. But of course, this is no remainder, so I'm going to do my rule by putting my decimal, putting it straight up, and adding 2 zeros. So remember, I just subtracted, so after you subtract, you bring down. So now my good news. My question is, how many 26s go into 130? And I'm lucky because I already did the work over there. You can see 26 times 5 does. So I'm going to go up here and put my 5. And of course, 26 times 5 will equal 130, and I'm not even going to need that extra 0 because I'm going to get a remainder 0, which is good, no remainder. All right, that was problem 2. Sorry I didn't write it, or maybe I did. I had to edit my recording. All right, so now this last problem you are going to do on your own. What I mean by that is, here's the problem. This would be number 3. So you should be bringing me 3 problems tomorrow. You have 9,945 divided by 75. So what you're going to do is do this problem right here, do the problem, and bring it into me tomorrow. Sorry, I can't talk. All right, thank you for joining us for our first MP3, or not MP3 guided reading, but our tutorial on how to do 2-digit division.